Welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. I'm Skratch. Hope you guys are having an amazing day. In today's video, guys, I want to talk about the top 15 best champions for the Chimera clan boss. Now, this is a fairly new content, right? It was only added to the game last week. We're going to have multiple rotations. Affinities will change, which, of course, will bring some other champions to the top. But I'm very confident that these 15 champions that I'm about to name are the absolute best champions that we currently have in the game. Now, of course, in the near future, most likely Plarium will introduce new champions that might replace quite a few of these champions, right? So this is a pretty tough boss, a pretty challenging one, and to be honest, is really replacing some of the older mechanics that we kind of knew, that we were familiar with, because in order to really smack this boss, you need a couple of different things. And I'm gonna start with the most OP champion, okay? So we're gonna do the top 15. After, of course, I'm gonna name a few other champions that I think that are really, really good, but I'm not really gonna dive into pretty much everything that they are doing. Without a doubt, the most OP champion for the Chimera at the very moment in Raid Shadow Legends, guys, is, of course, this dwarf, Sena Amberheart, okay? Absolutely insane, and she's basically bringing her mechanics into the play right here, which are absolutely demolishing the boss. Now, you 100% want to have a reviver in your team, a support champion that can revive and do as many other things as possible. And that's where she comes in play. She has pretty good base stats all around. She has a speed aura for all battles. Thumbs up, you definitely want to have that. The A1 gives you continuous heal. Hell yeah, I'll take that as well, more healing. The A2 places an increased speed, a continuous heal, actually 2 continuous heal buffs, on all allies for 2 turns, and fills their thermometer by 20%. Now, I want to start by saying that the boss has around 305 speed on Ultra Nightmare. So you need to have basically increased speed and gain as much thermometer as possible to constantly overlap that boss. As it is, the boss will pretty much go on a 1-to-1 ratio with you, most likely if your champions are not fast enough, if you're not bringing the increased speed, and it has 65 turns, okay? So once the boss takes 65 turns, game over. It works very different if we're comparing it with other game modes, right? Then you have the revive, as I mentioned, very, very important. This is not necessarily the best revive skill or anything like that. Yes, you're going to have the ally attack as well when you revive. But in general, you just need to have a revive. And an AoE revive on a 4-turn cooldown is actually very, very good. Then you have the passive. That's what makes this champion crazy. And we have a few different ones that are really, really powerful. So, whenever a continuous heal buff activates on any ally, fills the thermometer of all allies by 5%. At the end of this champion's turn, increases the duration of a continuous heal buff on a random ally except this champion for 1 turn. As you guys probably guessed it, it's all about getting this thermometer from here. That's why she's the most OP support champion in the entire game. On top of it, yes, you're getting the increased speed, you're getting the thermometer from there, you're getting a lot of healing, you have the speed aura. So this right here makes her absolutely insane, okay? And as I mentioned, we do have a few different champions that will gain thermometer from the passives. Some of them similar with Sena, some of them completely different. We do have one champion that I'm not going to put in top 15 just yet because he recently got a buff. I'm not even sure if the buff is on the server. It should be on the server, right? Together with a patch. We have Opardin Clanfeather. Basically, he just gives you a lot of healing, right? Continuous heals, and you're gonna get a cleanse. You're gonna get a remove all block buffs and heal reduction from all allies, right? Then this passive, each time a continuous heal buff heals an ally, fills that ally's thermometer by 10%. So this is actually even better because it's not 5%, it's 10%. So you're going to be able to gain so much freaking thermometer from it. Now, he's not in my top 15 just yet. I'll be very honest. He might just squeeze in there. Once I'm going to get to really play test him and compare him a bit with other champions that I have on my list, I might change my mind. But I do want to make you guys aware that he seems very, very interesting for this content. Then, Moving over to champion number 2 that we have on the list, guys. Without a doubt, the number 1 damage dealer for the Chimera, as expected. I really thought that Toshiro will be the GOAT, and that's mainly because he hits very hard. You don't really need to care about hitting multiple targets or anything like that, but he brings his own decreased defense, he brings his own Perfect Veil, and he brings the Leech as well from this form, which means that you're going to be able to complete trials. Trials will increase your multipliers overall for the damage, and that will be improved in the Chimera Clash score, 100% super strong. Now, one thing that I haven't done yet, I haven't played him on both forms to see how effective the second form is on the Chimera. Most likely, it can be pretty interesting. So right here, you're gonna deal additional damage. You're going to basically have a 50% chance to attack another enemy if they are under a leech, which won't be relevant, but he's bringing his own Perfect Veil. So you don't need to bring any other champion with Perfect Veil in order to complete the trials. This skill right here hits really, really hard. Mine sometimes deals, I don't know, like 3 to 4 million damage with this skill, almost. Then AoE defense down, and you're gonna have Leech and extra hit on enemies under 2 or more debuffs, which again will bring you a lot of damage. Roughly, with the build that I have on him, he deals 1+ million damage per hit with this skill. The passive, of course, fills the champion's turn meter by 5 every time they attack a target under a Leech debuff, and inflicts 25% more damage against enemies that are under a Leech debuff. So Toshiro is without a doubt the best. If you guys paid attention to see kind of like what are the world records in terms of what teams are absolutely smashing the Chimera, Toshiro is on the list, with Sena on the list as well at around 500 million damage on Ultra Nightmare. So right here, attacks all enemies, has a chance to increase the duration of all debuffs by 1 turn. Attacks all enemies, heals all allies except this champion by 10% of the damage inflicted, and is all about the Leech basically to increase the heal. And again, AoE attack, decreased speed, and a Leech. So this is pretty interesting as well. I do have to give it a go to see how well he will perform on the second form. Doubles the amount of healing this champion receives when attacking enemies under a Leech, and also decreases the damage taken from enemies under Leech debuffs by 50%. This is actually a pretty interesting passive as well. Definitely not too bad, but he is without a doubt the number 1 damage dealer. Moving over to the next champion that I have on the list, guys, as a top 15, Elva Outboard. Absolutely amazing. Now, I do prefer to have AoE revivers, just for the simple fact that most likely if I'm running 2 damage dealers, they're both going to die on the ramp form. They won't really have any issues with the other forms. It's all about the ramp form and the reflect damage that's really, really punishing. What I like about Elva, speed aura for all battles, right? You're getting 20+ speed approximately per champion instantly just from here. Then you have continuous heals on the basic skill. You have a cleanse, you have immunity, and you have increased speed on all allies. Increased speed is absolutely insane, but you're not getting turn meter from here. Then you have a revive on a 3-turn cooldown with increased defense and increased attack. Just with this on its own, you're going to be able to complete different trials as well, because you will require to have increased defense in some trials actually to deal damage to the enemy. A veil will be required as well in some different trials, and overall Elva is very strong. Plus she has this nice passive, right, which heals your team. Now, if you pair her with Opardin, you're going to be able to get some serious work done, because you're going to have tons of continuous heals. You're going to have tons of turn meter from Opardin. That's actually something that I'm working on, and I will be probably dropping a guide on that team tomorrow. I want to see exactly how far I can go with Opardin and Elva. It seems like such an amazing combo, right? So I definitely think that she's a top 15 champion, hands down, and mainly just because of this skill as well, plus the revive, the speed aura. I like Siphi as well. She's a great champion. I think she's still making my top 15, almost with a bit of minus, and that's mainly because no speed aura. Yes, her healing is not the best healing out there. The revive is not the greatest either, you know. So I feel like personally, Elva is much better than Siphi for this fight. Now, Siphi will give you turn meter. She will give you, of course, increased defense, which you can't really ignore. But getting this on a 3-turn cooldown rather than a 4-turn cooldown without that turn meter, I feel like it's just Really, really good. Moving over to the next champion, as expected, a lot of people always start by using this champion in all of the new content, and that is Krisk. Super, super effective, guys. And the main reason why he's so good, again, is decreased speed, AoE. It doesn't matter if it's AoE or not, but you do need that decreased speed, right? So he's going to bring you the decreased speed. He's going to bring you the increased speed. He's going to increase the duration of buffs. He's going to gain his own continuous heals. And he's going to have this passive that will put defense down and decrease attack on the Chimera. So Krisk, once again, he's one of the GOATs for the moment. Now, as I mentioned, most likely down the line, some of these champions will be replaced by new additions, or maybe we're going to discover some different type of strategies that will basically enable us to achieve better results. But as it stands right now, these are the GOATs, okay? So if you have any of these champions, definitely start building teams around them. Moving over to the next one, we're actually going to talk about Marius, one of the best damage dealers. And to be honest with you guys, a lot of us were really kind of like, oh my god, enemy max HP champions will suck. And that's because the wording that Plarium has in the passive for the boss is really off topic completely, because it says it cannot exceed 200k damage. Now, my Marius hits for around 600k per hit. Multiply that with 3, right? So that's actually pretty nasty. And he brings increased defense and increased accuracy. You're going to require both of these buffs in order to complete different trials. It is a shame that, yes, Enfeeble doesn't work on the boss. His A1 doesn't hit extremely hard, but still, he is most likely at the moment top 3, top 5 damage dealer for Chimera, to be honest. The main reason why enemy max HP outshines some of the raw damage dealers, guys, is because we have no area bonuses for the Chimera at the moment. So it's pretty much the same story like we had it in Hydra when they released it. Enemy max HP were the GOATs because we just did not have enough firepower to really deal a lot of damage on the Hydra, and now it's the same story for the Chimera. That's why having enemy max HP is actually really, really helpful. So Marius is 100% on the list. Plus, if you need a different aura, defense aura is actually really, really good. Then, because we are talking about enemy max HP, let me just take them off the list. We're going to go back to the dwarves. Acrizia, once again, comes in play. Very, very strong champion for this boss. At the moment, most likely this will change in the next 6+ months. If they're going to bring area bonuses. Listen, I've seen people spreading messages that Plarium said they are not considering to bring them, anything like that. I've asked Plarium before this update was in-game, and they said, we're not going to have it right now straight away, but this is definitely something that we are planning to bring in the future. Area bonuses for the Chimera. Everything else has them, right? So it makes perfect sense that the Chimera will have that as well, but most likely in 6+ months or so. So, Acrizia, guys, not only that she can bring you the defense down, to be honest, it's not the best chance to land the defense down. I wouldn't necessarily build her with high accuracy or anything like that. Just to land defense down with this skill is only a 60% chance, 65% chance. Now, if you're going with ally attacks and different things like that, it can be reliable enough to bring the defense down. What makes her so good is that every single skill is enemy max HP. Okay, which means that she's going to do some serious damage. Now, as I mentioned, I do think that Marius is better than her overall, right? She does have better multipliers, which means that her build doesn't need to be as good as Marius's build. They will require Savage. You cannot go in with Relentless and hope that, oh my god, I'm going to hit some crazy score. Savage will be the best thing, or Savage. You can run Merciless, you can run pretty much any set that ignores defense. On Marius as well, you can go in with a Slayer set, a 9-piece Slayer set. If you're able to get that done, and boom, you're gonna get some amazing damage, right? Then, of course, the passive is basically just making everything deal enemy max HP base damage. So Acrizia, one of the GOATs. And because we are here in this faction, let's not come back at it again. Geomancer can be pretty good as an epic, but he's not really making the high top. Newt, very, very good as well. And not only because he brings enemy max HP damage. You do want to build him with accuracy again on Savage, because all of his skills will deal some damage. What is very good is that he brings his counter attack. Then he brings this. Decrease attack and weaken. This is actually massive. You're going to need a decrease attack. You're going to need a weaken. The decrease attack will be mandatory for trials as well. But the best thing that Newt brings to the table, guys, is this skill right here. And it's not a damage, it's this. Each hit decreases the target's defense by 3%, stacking up to 30%. Now, the Chimera has very high defense. Each one of the form has different stats and stuff, but they have very high defense. So being able to knock down that defense with Newt is massive, especially if you don't have a very high blessing like Cruelty, for example. If you don't have a 6-star Cruelty, he is your best ally in the fight. 100% considering running him. The passive, and you have, of course, increases all ally accuracy in dungeons, but this is irrelevant for the Chimera. That's not going to work. But pretty good damage as well. So Marius, Newt, and Acrizia are at 100% the best options in terms of enemy max HP, because each one of them will bring something unique to the table. Acrizia, as I mentioned, can bring the defense down, but honestly, I wouldn't necessarily build her like that. Moving over to the next champion that we have on the list, we're going to head over to the Lizard Man, guys, and Nekmo Thaar, guys. Nekmo Thaar is absolutely insane for this content. You can, of course, pair a Nekmo Thaar with Siphi, as an example, if you have a Siphi as a reviver, or a Pythian. Basically, you have speed aura, you have decrease attack, you need it, and you need it for trials as well. Then you have decreased speed and you have leech. Massive help with the trials and to keep the boss at bay. Then you have increased speed, you have turn meter and extra turn on this champion. Now, if you're wondering how should you build a champion, the thing is, all of the champions that buff should go preferably on 9-piece protection, right? That's going to be absolutely massive to ensure that the boss won't steal your buffs, etc. But of course, at the same time, you can always go on a reflex, on an impulse, a reflex plus a 4-piece merciless, just to try and decrease the cooldowns of the A3, the A2, and just rotate them on and on and on, right? The passive fills this champion's turn meter by 5% each time a debuff on an enemy is removed, transferred, or expires. Now, this will happen so freaking often in the Chimera, especially when the boss will metamorph. It will remove all of the debuffs from himself, so then Nekmo can actually gain in some turn meter from here. Very, very good, especially that he can help you with the trials, guys. Then, moving over to the next one, let's bring in a mythical on the list as well, guys, because I feel like you guys are shaky there, are like, what, Skratch? That's it, no more mythicals? Androc. Actually, really, really good for this boss, guys. I know a lot of people are constantly saying he needs a buff, he needs a buff. I don't disagree with it, but I think he is one of the best support champions as well for this boss. So with the A1, you have increased defense on all allies. Very, very helpful. Then you have AoE attack, increases the duration of all ally buffs, which is very nice. You're getting some healing. Increased resistance, strengthen, and continuous heal buffs on all allies. And if you play him with Sena, guys, that team is gonna go crazy, right? So much turn meter, so much continuous heal, and all of the buffs as well, if they're protected, you're going to deal additional damage, right? So 9-piece protection is the way to go on Androc as well. It brings a lot of buffs. And the increased resistance, again, will be pretty helpful because you will require to resist some debuffs. I think is on the Viper form, if I remember it correctly, in order to complete different trials. And immunity won't really cut it because the boss won't be able to attempt to debuff you, right? So you're not going to complete the trial with immunity. Then, you have basically the passive, increases this champion's resistance by 10 for each buff on each ally. That's a lot of resistance, but you have critical hits inflicted by allies fills the turn meter of all allies by 5%. So this is even crazier. You're basically combining so much turn meter in your team, especially if you have Sena available too. Is just crazy. That's why this is basically a new way of running the dungeon. It's kind of like making the most out of the turn meter mechanic because the boss is so fast. Your only real weapon versus a super fast boss is gaining turn meter constantly to be able to overlap him and keep the boss at bay, basically. Don't allow him to move while your champions are taking 2-3 turns per champion per enemy turn, right? And that's how you're really scoring big numbers in the Chimera. Then you can Metamorph, you have defense down, again, is very nice. Then you have decreased resistance and weaken. Decreased resistance will be required again for a different trial. You're gonna have this one right here, which gives you block buffs. I mean, what else you want from a champion like him, right? Very good for the Chimera. Almost, I feel like I want to get an Androc now. You know what I mean? I felt the same when they introduced him for the Hydra, but considering that pairing him with Sena is just so crazy, which, by the way, I still don't have her, but I think they're very insane as a combo. Then, let me just bring you another mythical. We have Galathir Star Sage. Very good champion in here as well, guys. And you're going to have the A1, fills the thermometer of all allies by 10%. There you go. You're going to have the cleanse, you're going to have the healing, you're going to have the immunity, the thermometer. You're going to have the revive. This will be required 100%, as I mentioned. And then you have the passive. He gets some less damage, he stays alive. But you're going over to the next form. You're going to have block active skills, which will be very important on one of the forms as well. I think is, again, the Viper form, if I remember it correctly. Removes all buffs from all enemies, which is very good. So the block active skills, again, if I'm not mistaken, will be required to complete one of the trials. You're going to get decreased resistance and increased accuracy. These, both buff and debuff, are both required for different trials as well. I know I'm constantly mentioning trials, guys, but they're actually really important because you need to have a lot of trials completed in order to push up your multipliers for the clash, right? So Galathir, very strong. Now, I know I haven't mentioned Opardin, guys, and he's not in my top 15 at the moment. I feel like one of the main reasons why he is not in top 15 is basically because of the affinity. So right now you have the ultimate form, which is Void. You have the Viper, Ram, and Lion forms, which are all 3 force, right? So Magic champions are not necessarily the best at the moment, but I feel like Wallmaster Opardin with block buffs, decreased attack, and bringing his own increased accuracy can be really helpful again for trials and damage in general. So definitely don't sleep on him. Even on this rotation, you can 100% use him. I mean, Toshiro is Magic Affinity, and yes, once that will change, he's gonna get crazy damage because you're not going to weak hit as much. Moving over to the next champion that I have on the list, guys. And as expected, he's just absolutely insane in the Hydra clan boss. Absolutely insane in a lot of content. Fural the Barkhorn, guys. You have decreased speed on the A1, which is a massive plus. Decreased accuracy, block buffs. You have increased resistance, perfect veil. You have the passive. Super effective. 9-piece protection. And get him up and running in your team. You're not going to regret it. He's just way too freaking good for all of the content not to use Fural in one of your teams, right? Just very good. And again, you will require a lot of the things that he brings to the table to complete different trials. Then one champion that is 100% kind of like a surprise in here, at least in my opinion, is Gwyndolin. Gwyndolin brings in a lot of different things that you need for the trials, guys. So you have basically the triple hitter on the A1, which can bring nice damage as well. Good affinity for this rotation. You have decreased speed, you have leech, you have decreased accuracy. Very nice. Then you have increased accuracy, and you have a chance to steal the block debuffs, and you can put block debuffs on all allies, right? Immunity for 1 turn. Very good. Like, how many buffs and debuffs that are super important in the Chimera, and you have them all in one champion, right? So Gwyndolin is super nice. I need to summon mine, actually, because I haven't had a need to use the champion anywhere else, but now I will 100% most likely use him in one of my teams. Him, her, whatever. We use the champion, right? You guys know the drill. Before I'm getting flamed in the comments. Then, moving over to the next champion that I think is really good, is Rakka, guys. Yes, I don't have her. I do have a 6-star soul for her, just chilling. So, starting with the speed aura for all battles, again, a plus. The A1 heals the ally with the lowest HP. Then you have a cleanse, You're getting increased attack and a shield. And you're getting a revive on a 4-turn cooldown with 50% HP and turn meter with immunity. And you are getting the immunity even if no dead allies are revived, basically. If you have no one dead, you can still use the skill. And what really makes her interesting is this. At the start of each turn, fills the turn meter of all allies by 10%. So probably a lot of you guys might be wondering, how should I build her? Should I just go in and build her on 9-piece protection because of all of the buffs, right? You are getting continuous heals as well. Thinking about it, pairing her with Opardin Clanfather can be really, really powerful as well, because you're going to get more continuous heals from here as well, you know. You can run her on Relentless as well, as an option. You will risk it a bit with the buffs, but it might pay off if you're getting a lot of extra turns to get all of the additional turn meter from here, right? So Rakka, I do think she is in top 15 at the moment anyway. I think she's really, really good because she brings a lot of the things that we really need in this fight. Then, moving over to the next champion that we have on the list. I'm just making sure I haven't missed any of them from my list, guys. Lady Mikage. Not only that she brings a lot of buffs, but of course, if you are using the right damage dealers, and you do have a lot of good damage dealers in this faction. You have Toshiro, you have Harima, you have Ninja, which are all amazing in this content. With the A1, right, you're going to have the ally joining in with a basic skill. Increases the duration of buffs, decreases the duration of buffs on the enemy as well, which is really helpful. And you have the ally attack with increased attack and increased accuracy. Now, what I do like about her is that you can always metamorph. This is mainly if you're planning to manual to kind of like really squeeze up as much damage as possible. And you can have increased accuracy, weaken, and remove the buffs from the boss. In case if he's gonna steal any of your buffs, right? It can happen on some forms. So I do think that Lady Mikage, absolutely insane. It's just crazy how all of us, we actually underestimated this champion when they announced it as a fusion, and we all looked around and was like, well, yeah, it's just another ally attack champion. Do I really need her on my account? I feel like everybody was like this, right? I don't think I need her. I have Cardiel, I have other ally attack champions, etc. Just to kind of like really get to play her and really understand actually how impactful it is and how much more than just an ally attack champion she is, right? Crazy. Then, as I mentioned, my last champion on the top 15, guys. I feel like most likely she's going to drop from my top 15, and that is Siphi. Yes, you are getting a bit of healing. You're getting block debuffs, increase defense and increase speed, and some turn meter on a 4-turn cooldown, right? That's my main issue, 4-turn cooldown. You have the revive on a 4-turn cooldown, a single target revive. That's why I don't really like her as much, okay? She can help with some of these debuffs right here if any of them get placed and stuff. But honestly, I feel like the other support champions just perform much, much better in this content. And that's mainly an issue with her cooldowns. 4-turn, 4-turn, okay? That's why I really think that she will drop out of my top 15. Then, of course, this was my top 15 best champions for the Chimera. Let me know in the comments down below what do you guys think about the champions. If you think that I've really missed anyone, that's absolutely insane. As I mentioned, I will give you a list with a few other champions that I really think that will be amazing in the content. And starting with the Lizardman, we have Ramantu, which is really, really strong. Block active skills, you're getting decreased speed, weaken, defense down. You're getting the fear as well. Most likely, I would replace Siphi with Ramantu in the top 15 because he's bringing so many things for trials as well. You're able to complete 2 different trials just by adding in Ramantu. With block active skills and the true fear, right? And you have the decreased speed, which is massive. You can decrease the cooldown of a skill. So overall, Ramantu, very, very strong. Then we have, as I mentioned, Opardin Clanfather, which I'm still not sure if he's going to make it in top 15, but it really looks like he does have the potential to be a top 15 champion. And it gets hard because who are we dropping for him, right? Like, who's the champion that gets kicked out of the top 15 for Opardin to walk in? There are a lot of good champions nowadays in Raid Shadow Legends, guys. And when we're making a top like this, it's just harder than ever, okay? Then, Raiho Bone Spear, absolutely freaking insane. 5 debuffs. very, very nasty. And you're getting healing as well. You're getting cleanse. I've used her in Mikey, for example. I've just went in and did an auto key, and she performs pretty well. I had her on Reflex and Impulse. 9-piece protection can work. The best build, in my opinion, for her will be a 9-piece Feral. 25% extra damage instantly because of the 5 debuffs that she is bringing. Ninja, very, very strong as well. Defense down, the burn, damage. The problem with him, again, is the affinity for this rotation, and I'm sure that the next rotation, or one of the followings, will really see Ninja pushed at the very top, because he is going to be one of the best damage dealers for this boss. Then we have Lady Kimi. In some cases, I actually prefer Lady Kimi over Krisk. The only problem is that it's very hard to really fit her in the team with other champions instead of Krisk, right? You have the Thermitter, the decreased accuracy, the decreased speed, block buffs, steal a buff or remove a buff from the enemy, increase speed, increase accuracy. Again, it's all about completing trials and being able to control when the boss will have buffs, block buffs. It really depends what other champions you have available. Shame that the passive is not for all battles or something like that. It would have been much, much better. Then we have Eos Street Dream Song, really, really strong as well. You're getting the increased speed, increased attack, weaken, decreased speed. You're getting Thermitter, which is really nice. You're getting some healing in there. Pretty solid one. Inchensa can be a nice one, but I'm still not so sure about her. Like, we have Venus and other champions, right? We have Lydia, which is absolutely insane as a champion, and most likely she could be part of the top 15, but again, it's pretty hard to drop other OP champions for her, but she's very good as well. So maybe we put her top 16, right? Either way, you have a chance to land Fear, which again will be helpful. You have defense down, weaken, strength, and increased speed, very helpful. And you have poison sensitivity and block buffs. Now, in order to really make that trial work, you need to drop a poison with somebody too, right? So that's one thing to keep in mind. Passive is not really relevant, but either way, the rest of the skills are pretty good. Top 20, 100%. Then we do have Duchess, which is a good support champion. I'm just not the biggest fan of Duchess as it is at the moment. No Thermitter. Yes, you're getting all of these skills, but again, 4-turn cooldown. The revive is good on a 4-turn cooldown. She's just not bringing enough to this fight. It's not like in the Hydra clan boss, in my opinion, but she's definitely not a bad champion whatsoever. We have a Glaciad, which again is pretty good because we were talking about Duchess. Pretty strong support as well, right? You're getting the revive, you're getting the buffs, you're getting some Thermitter. He's actually better than Duchess, in my opinion, in this fight. Plus, he is boosting the damage when you have your champions under Perfect Veil, which is pretty nice. We have Pythian, which again is a very good reviver. Definitely do not sleep on him. We have even Sulfurian can be a pretty nice one. Not the best, but can be a nice one. We have Pady, which even though I haven't really played this champion much yet, he's very, very strong, or at least on paper it seems really strong. You have some healing, you have some Thermitter, you have block buffs, decreased speed, more Thermitter from here, removes all buffs from all enemies, decreases the cooldown of skills, and increase resistance. So 100%, he's really damn nasty as well for this fight. So again, I would put him in top 20 all day long. I feel like he's a brand new champion, right? I mean brand new, it's probably like a month or so, but very strong, you know. Theox as well can be nice as a damage dealer, but I wanna focus on damage dealers in a different video, guys. I kind of like want to give you ideas on different champions. Then you have, of course, Lamasu, which can be a pretty nice champion too. You have decreased attack. You have the block buffs, True Fear, which won't really work versus bosses, if I'm not mistaken, right? It's going to put decreased speed instead. You have the cleanse from a single ally, the intercept, decreased cooldowns of skills. You have the passive, decreases the target's Thermitter, which is not really going to be helpful, but it will decrease the resistance and accuracy. You have a speed aura for all battles, which makes it pretty nice. So overall, there are tons of different champions that can be nice. Sisia Flame Tongue can be nice. Harima can be nice, as I mentioned before. Even Skeletor. Skeletor actually brings a lot of things to the table too. You have the decreased attack, you have the decreased speed, you have the increased accuracy, you have the block debuffs. overall, definitely not bad, especially if you are struggling with building up teams. He's a free champion. So if you're kind of like mid-game and stuff like this, and you don't have a lot of crazy champions, he's definitely one champion that you shouldn't be sleeping on. Then we have Galathir. I find it very hard to fit him in a team, guys. I'll be honest. I really had super high hopes for him. I wasn't really 100% sure if we are going to need revivers in the fight. So Galathir seemed like a very, very good option. But considering that we really need revivers, I feel like Galathir is taking a bit of a smack. Like, he has the perfect kit for it. You're getting shield, increased defense, these buffs are protected, you're getting the clans, the immunity. Everything is perfect because everything is protected. But unfortunately, it's pretty hard to fit him in the team, guys. You know what? That was all for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Let me know if you think I've missed any super powerful champions. And stay tuned for the next few videos that I'm going to drop related to the Chimera, because I'll be showing you guys some different teams, starting from whale teams to low spender teams, etc. Just trying to basically get something out for everyone. And I will be doing a guide on the best damage dealers as well in the next couple of days. As usual, if you enjoy the content, smash a like, subscribe, drop a comment, help out with that YouTube algorithm, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Stay safe. Peace.